3:12 a.m. Temperature dropped hard since midnight. Winds coming in off the lake, dry and cutting. The kind that makes your skin feel like paper. I can see my breath now when I talk, even inside. Generators still running on backup diesel. We've got maybe another 40 hours before we're dark, unless we can scavenge more. Drop a comment. Tell me where you're listening from and what time it is for you. This is station 1140 AM, The Ridge. You're listening to Rex Dalton, broadcasting out of the old maintenance shack behind the Red Elk Wildlife Refuge. What used to be northern Missouri. I've been here since the lines fell, since the sky turned orange and the air started buzzing with static that never went away, since the first screams. This isn't an official station anymore. Hell, nothing's official anymore. I don't know how far this signal reaches. I've jury-rigged an old repeater with copper wire and a salvaged panel off a weather drone. If you can hear me, I need you to listen carefully. Because something is out there. And it's not human. We don't have a name for them. Nobody does. The internet went down too fast. Most of the broadcasts got pulled or scrambled. We used to think it was a chemical leak or some biological spill. Maybe something got loose from Fort Detrick. Maybe something came down from orbit. It doesn't matter anymore. They don't bleed red. They don't move like anything we've seen before. And they learn. Fast. The first time I saw one, I was on Highway 36, just outside of Brookfield. Pickup died all of a sudden, like everything electronic just coughed and gave up. Then the sky flickered, like an old CRT, and I swear I felt something move inside my head. Just for a second. Like a whisper without sound. It came out of the corn. Tall, wrong, fast. It didn't run. It floated, or something close to it. I saw a family 20 yards up ahead, minivan still running on old diesel, kids screaming inside. It went through that metal like paper. I didn't even hear it break the glass. Just a hiss, and then nothing. I don't know how I made it out. I shouldn't have. That was 17 days ago. There are no more official broadcasts coming out of St. Louis, Kansas City is gone. I don't know how, but it went dark 3 days in. Every channel, every repeater, every emergency alert went silent. That was the real giveaway. Not the screams, not the evacuations, the silence. Like someone shut off the world from the inside. If you're listening, if you're still out there, I need you to stay low. Stay off any major roads. Do not run towards sirens. They're mimicking the signals now. I don't know how, but I heard a woman crying for help in perfect English through a frequency band that hasn't been used since the early 90s. Like it knew what that would do to someone who remembered those emergency broadcasts. She sounded like my sister. She died 7 years ago. I've been getting shortwave bursts, scattered. Someone calling themselves Bravo North, broadcasting out of an old military relay in western Kentucky. I haven't been able to lock their signal in more than 30 seconds at a time, but they mentioned something I haven't heard before. They said the outbreak started before we even saw it, that we were blind for weeks, maybe longer. That's when I started thinking about what happened at that quarry in Iowa, the strange seismic readings, the way birds stopped migrating, how the satellites began going dark one by one. They said it was a firmware bug, a cascade. But what if it wasn't? What if they were hiding something that fell? Or worse, something they woke up. I'm not a scientist. I used to work repairs at KMOC 92.7, fixing antenna arrays, doing community forecasts, running high school football scores on game nights. But I know what the world's supposed to sound like. and I haven't heard birds in over a week. Not a single one. That's not right. Nothing about this is right. I'm gonna keep this broadcast going as long as I can. I've got a few solar blankets, a hand crank if I need it, and a couple cans of soup that aren't expired yet. I've got a wind-up recorder too, so even if this signal doesn't reach far, maybe someone will find the tapes. We have to remember, we have to warn. I want to take a moment now to share something I got from a call 2 nights ago. Woman named Janelle, calling from near the outskirts of Springfield, Illinois. She was holed up in the basement of a Lutheran church. Said she hadn't seen the sun in 3 days. Said the clouds were too thick and the sky looked like it was boiling. She said the things came out at night, but not always. They're not predictable. She watched them mimic a man's voice for over an hour, saying the same line again and again. "I'm not like them. Let me in." It changed tone, got calmer, warmer. Then it got quiet. When she opened the door, there was nothing but a hole in the hallway carpet, like something had melted right through the floor. I tried to reach her again the next night. No answer. Look, if you're still trying to make sense of this, if you're waiting for the military to roll in and fix things, they won't. Best I can tell, the few units still active have gone dark or rogue. No chain of command. Just loose comms. I caught a garbled feed out of Nebraska where someone mentioned burn orders. Whole towns burned down just to contain whatever this is. They don't care who's still inside. If you're near any power grid substations, stay away. Something's happening with the transformers. They hum wrong now. That's the only way I can put it. The sound's too deep, too constant. I think whatever's inside them hears it. Or maybe that's where it starts. I know this is hard. I know some of you are scared. I'm scared too. I can't sleep more than an hour at a time anymore. Every time I do, I hear clicking. Not in the walls, in my head. Like my thoughts don't belong to me anymore. Like something is tracing them backwards. But I won't stop broadcasting. Because as long as I'm still on the air, you're not alone. This is Rex Dalton. 11:40 a.m. The Ridge. I'll be back with another update as soon as I can. Keep the dial open. Keep the lights dim. And whatever you do, don't answer if it sounds too familiar. They're listening too. It's 6:27 a.m. now. The sun hasn't come up, but I don't think it will today. Or if it does, it'll be that strange light again. Muted, like it's trying to get through dirty glass. The kind of sky that makes everything feel stuck in time, like it's the same hour over and over again. Generators humming low. I've cut power to the fridge and rerouted to the transmitter coil. Priorities, right? I haven't eaten yet. Don't want to. Not after what I found outside this morning. There was a man, or what was left of one, on the gravel path between the old maintenance shed and the tree line. His body was twisted in a way that doesn't make sense, like something took him apart and didn't know how to put him back together again. No blood. That's the part that got me. There was no blood, just a smear of something thick and dark, but it wasn't wet, like ink dried too fast. His face was turned toward the station, toward me, like he'd been crawling this way, like he knew I was here. And in his hand, this old two-way radio, battery long dead, no ID, no tags, no wallet, just that. I buried him. Didn't want to, not really. But something about the way he was facing, the grip on that radio, I I don't know. Felt like I owed him something. Maybe he was trying to reach someone. Or maybe he was trying to warn me. I've started noticing patterns. They don't come in waves, not like storms. It's more like pulses. The air goes still. Then the dogs, if there are any left, start barking, howling, then stop. And in that space between noise and nothing, you feel it. Like pressure behind your eyes, like gravity's not quite right. And then something happens. Always something. 2 nights ago, I heard movement outside the station. Not footsteps, something heavier, something dragging. I cut the lights, sat in the dark, couldn't breathe. Then I heard it. A voice. My own voice. Calling from outside. I'm not lying. I'm not crazy. I know how that sounds. But it was me. My voice. Saying things I hadn't said yet. Talking about the man in the gravel, the broken sky, the static in my head. All of it. I sat there, frozen for what felt like hours. When the sound stopped, I checked the tape. Nothing. Dead air. But I know what I heard. I think they can do more than mimic sound. I think they can reach into memory. Not just yours. Ours. There's a theory I heard from a caller last week. Guy named Miguel from outside Tulsa. If he's still out there, Miguel, I hope you're listening. He worked in satellite telemetry. Said the Department of Defense started seeing anomalies 6 months before this started. Thermal spikes where there should have been ice. Interference that didn't match any known signature. Like echoes bouncing back where there shouldn't be anything. His words, not mine. It's like something was listening to our surveillance, using it to map us from inside. He said when they tried to pinpoint the source, the software would crash, just blink out, like someone pulled the plug from inside the feed. He warned his supervisor. 3 days later, they shut down his clearance and moved him off-site. No explanation. He went dark a few days after that call. Said his power had gone strange, flickering in rhythms. Morse code, maybe, or worse. Look, I know some of this sounds crazy, but you weren't here when the clouds blinked. You didn't see the sky ripple like water under glass. You didn't hear yourself screaming from a signal tower 5 miles away. There's something deeply wrong in this world now. Something we weren't meant to find. Or maybe something we were never meant to remember. Some of you have asked why I keep broadcasting. Why I don't just run. Where would I run to? This is the last thing that feels real. My voice. This microphone. This signal. And as long as it's reaching you, we're not alone. I got another call just before dawn. Woman named Brielle from somewhere outside Fargo. Said she's holed up in a grain silo with her son. Power's out, but they've got candles and an old radio. She said she tuned in by accident. Was scanning through static and picked up my last message. She cried when she heard me say I was still here. Said she thought no one was left. She told me about something she saw 2 days ago. A man standing at the edge of the field, staring at the silo. Didn't move, didn't blink. Stood there from sunrise to dusk. When she looked again, after dark, he was gone. But there were footprints. Bare, deep, leading nowhere. And the wheat, it wasn't burned exactly, but bent in a spiral, like it had been pressed by sound, or something heavier than the air. She said her son hasn't spoken since. I asked her what she needed. She said, hope. I didn't know what to say. There's a limit to what a radio can do. I can't bring the sun back. I can't fix the grid or send in help, but I can speak. And maybe that's something. I want to tell you this before the signal fades again. You are not alone. Even if you haven't heard another voice in days, even if the world feels hollow, like someone scooped it out and left the shell behind, even if you're cold and tired and hungry and scared, I'm here, and I'll keep being here until the last coil melts and the sky finally gives up. This is Rex Dalton, 11:40 a.m., The Ridge, still alive, still listening, still broadcasting. And if you hear your own voice outside, don't open the door. It's 10:41 a.m. If you're just tuning in, the signal's holding for now. I rigged a second antenna up the tower with insulated copper from some old microwave guts. It's ugly, and I had to climb up in that wind to lash it to the rusted frame, but it's humming steady. I think we're punching through again. Might even be reaching as far south as Little Rock if the skip holds. If anyone's listening down there, write this frequency down. 11:40 a.m., The Ridge. I'll keep it alive as long as I can. Outside, it's quiet. Too quiet. Not that kind of peaceful quiet either. This is the kind where you know something's out there, and it's just waiting, like it's listening back. You ever been hunting and the woods suddenly go silent? No bugs, no wind? That's what it feels like even nature is holding its breath. The air smells burned again, same as it did 2 nights ago, like copper and ozone. And there's this faint vibration under my feet. I thought it was in my head at first, but it's not. It's in the ground. There's movement under the dirt. I took a walk this morning, only about 100 yards out from the shack, down to the edge of the dried-up creek bed. I just needed to see sky, what's left of it. You start going crazy being inside all the time, even with the risk. That's when I saw the hole. It's not natural. It's not erosion. I don't know what it is. Maybe a tunnel. It's too smooth, like it was melted through the clay. About 4 feet wide, going straight down at an angle. Too perfect. No animal made that. I dropped a stone in. Took 6 seconds to hit anything. There's something moving down there. I heard it. Scraping. Breathing. A sound like wet plastic being pulled apart slow. If you're near any fault lines, mines, or even old storm drains, get out. I think they're moving underground now. I think they're spreading faster than we can imagine. I tried to raise Jefferson City this morning on the backup HF band. Nothing. Not even static. Just dead space. Like the city's not there anymore. We got a message early today. Short burst on the emergency ham band, probably from a patched CB unit. Came from someone calling herself Nurse Kelly out of a makeshift trauma unit in Quincy, Illinois. She's been treating injuries, deep lacerations, blunt force trauma, chemical burns, without any real supplies. She said most of her patients don't remember how they got hurt. They come in dazed, eyes wide, skin pale like they've been drained of something more than blood. Some are talking to themselves. Some aren't talking at all, just sitting like dolls, staring at corners. One man she treated had a fragment lodged in his thigh, metal but smooth and black, with no markings. When she pulled it out, it hissed, like it was breathing. It melted through the forceps. She's scared. Not of dying. Of what's inside the ones who survive. I tried to patch her through, but the line cut out. All I heard at the end was her whispering something over and over. It's not the injuries. It's what comes after. I hope you're still out there, Kelly. I hope someone's helping you. If you're listening, hold on. We need each other now more than ever. I've been thinking about before, about the last normal day. For me, it was early afternoon. I was heading back from Monroe City, picked up a spare capacitor for the old tower relay. There was a college kid selling apples by the roadside. Said his family had a small orchard west of town. I bought a bag, paid him cash. He smiled. It wasn't much, but it was real. I keep wondering if he made it. If his family had time to flee, or if they stayed, waiting for help that never came. Sometimes it's not the horror that gets you. It's the quiet ghosts of the world we lost. The sound of paper maps, the jingle of keys, the thump of shoes on a porch, the hum of a refrigerator. God, I'd kill to hear that hum again. I know this broadcast can't replace what we had, but I'm going to use it to remind us of what matters. So, here's a small guide. Just a little something I've learned in the last 17 days of hell. Don't trust clean light. If it looks too even, too soft, like it belongs in a movie, it's not real. They use it. Somehow. Trust your pets. If a dog growls at someone you love, get out. I've heard too many stories. Watch the mirrors. I know how that sounds. I know. But I've seen reflections that moved wrong. That didn't sync. Static means they're close. If you hear a low buzz through your fillings, through your feet, even through your dreams, get underground. You don't always see them. Sometimes they're already in the town, in the people, in the voice on your shortwave calling for help. They're already in. I got a call last night. A man from Boise. Said his name was Tom. Said he and a group of survivors were hiding in a school gymnasium. Brick walls, no windows, solid roof. He sounded tired. Said they'd lost 4 people to panic. Not the creatures. Panic. Infighting. Paranoia. One woman swore her brother was replaced. Said he looked the same, talked the same. But his dreams were gone. Just stared at walls when he thought no one was watching. Then she stabbed him in the chest with a screwdriver. He didn't bleed. Not a drop. Then he smiled, opened his mouth and screamed like a fax machine. Then he ran. Nobody's seen him since. I tried to get more, but the call ended fast. He said something was scratching at the door. Said it knew their names. I want to believe it's not too late. I want to believe there's still something human left in all of us. Something strong enough to push back against whatever this is. Even now, even in the dark. I'll be here. Keep the radios warm. Keep your heads low. And whatever you do, if you hear your name whispered by someone who shouldn't know it, don't turn around. This is Rex Dalton, 11:40 a.m., The Ridge, still here. It's 1:03 p.m. The wind started again. It comes in fast now, no warning. 1 second it's calm. Next thing you know, the trees are swaying like they're trying to rip out their own roots. There's a sharpness in the air, too, like the weather itself's gone feral. Too hot for January. Too quiet. Clouds aren't shaped right anymore. There's no softness to them. Just long, knifing streaks like smoke trails that don't move. I can't prove it, but I swear they watch from up there. People used to say they saw shapes in the clouds. Dragons, ships, elephants. I looked out earlier and saw a face. Human-like, but not really. No expression. Just watching. I blinked and it was gone. The shack's holding for now. Still powered by diesel and an old marine battery I pulled from a wrecked boat near the edge of the water. If that dies, I've got hand cranks. It's rough, but it'll work. I keep thinking about the people I haven't heard from, like Max from across the river in Shelbina. Used to call in every third day to give weather updates from his rooftop. Real amateur ham guy. No formal training, but his reports were sharper than the old Noé dispatches half the time. He used to say, "The sky's the only truth we got left, Rex." Last time I heard from Max was 5 days ago. He called in whispering. Said the sky was lying now. I think about that a lot. There's something I need to talk about. Something I've put off saying on air until now. I think I've been followed. Not just watched. Followed. I don't know if it's one of them or something worse. It doesn't leave tracks. Doesn't make noise. But I know it's there. I'll catch movement from the corner of my eye. A glimpse of something standing just beyond the edge of the tower's light. And every time I go to check, it's gone. But the air is colder, like it passed through. I've started sleeping with my boots on. And the door? I've added a third lock. Nothing fancy, just metal plates and heavy chain, but it's enough to slow something down. I keep the lights low. Just the red emergency bulbs now. Less reflection, less shadow. If you're listening and you're on the move, you need to hear this. Don't camp near water anymore. There have been reports, scattered, but consistent, of lakes going silent, not frozen, not drained, just silent, no frogs, no insects, and when people get close, they feel this pressure in the chest, like standing too close to a speaker at full blast. But there's no sound. One guy, name was Andre, from Pine Bluff, said his brother got pulled under. 1 second he was filling a jug, next second he was gone. No splash, no ripple, just gone. The water didn't move. Andre ran, didn't even grab his bag. Said the lake reflected the sky wrong. Said it didn't have a bottom anymore. I don't know what that means, but I believe him. Nothing's behaving right now. I got a cracked emergency scanner working again last night. Picked up a strange loop on frequency 147.2. Sounded like an automated distress beacon, but wrong. The timing was inconsistent. Human timing, like breathing. After 5 cycles it broke, and there was this voice. No ID, no station tag. Just one word, repeated 3 times. Remember, remember, remember. Then nothing. Not static, just black silence. I recorded it, played it back this morning. The voice sounded familiar. I think it was mine. I've started taping over the mirrors in here. There's only 2. One on the medicine cabinet, one built into the locker door. Both covered now. Too many times I've looked in and seen my mouth moving when I wasn't speaking. The science doesn't matter anymore. The rules are breaking down. But for what it's worth, I did get a ping from someone who used to work for the Army Corps of Engineers. He only identified himself as Lyle. Said he worked at a dig site in southern Arizona before all this. They uncovered a sealed chamber. No records of it on any maps, civilian or military. Inside was a black material they couldn't identify. Cold to the touch. Soundproof. He said it was emitting a low EM pulse, even when sealed. Before they could analyze it, DC stepped in and shut the site down. No media, no reports. 2 weeks later, everything started falling apart. I asked him what he thought it was. He said, "Not from here. Not new either. Old. Like something buried long before we showed up." He believes we opened a prison. Not a tomb. Not a crash site. A prison. And now the inmates are walking. Do with that what you will. A quick survival reminder while I've still got signal. Don't light fires at night unless you've got coverage from above. They see light like insects do, drawn to it. Keep movement to a minimum after dark, and for God's sake, do not whistle. I don't know why, but it's like a trigger for them. Maybe it mimics something. I've heard reports from as far out as Amarillo, people disappearing after just a single note. They don't find you because you're loud. They find you because you sound human. I want to end this segment with a short message from a girl who called in last night. Her name was Sasha. She's 14. Said she and her grandpa are hiding in the freezer room of an abandoned gas station outside Lexington. Her voice was strong, braver than most adults I've heard lately. She said, "Tell people not to give up, even if they're alone, even if they can't see the sky anymore. We're still here. We just have to be quiet and smart. The old ways work. Grandpa says the old ways always work." Sasha, if you're listening, you're right. The old ways do work. Battery radios, paper maps, fire-hardened sticks, silence, trust. We thought we outgrew those things. We didn't. We just forgot how to survive. But we're remembering now. This is Rex Dalton, 11:40 a.m. The Ridge. I'm tired, but I'm still here, and I'm not going anywhere. If you're alive, stay that way. If you're scared, that means your mind still works. And if you're listening to this broadcast, that means there's still a line between us. Don't let it go dark. It's 3:46 p.m. I think the wind just died. Not slowed. Died. 1 second it was rattling the siding and howling through the broken gutter slats. And now, nothing. Like someone hit mute on the world. Not even the trees are moving. The temperature dropped again. Fast. I can see frost creeping across the inside of the window panes, even though the air outside isn't cold enough for it. I wiped one of them down and looked through, and for a second, I swear, I saw my own face staring back from the woods. Not in the glass, in the trees. I blinked, and it was gone. Just branches and bark again. But I know what I saw. This place, this ridge, this station. It's not safe anymore. It hasn't been for days, but now it feels different. Like it's been marked. Like they know I'm here, and they're just waiting for me to run. But I'm not running. Not yet. A man called in around noon. His name was Edwin. Said he was an old Coast Guard comms officer back in the 90s. Lives in a town called Salisaw, right along the Oklahoma border. Or what's left of it. He's been tracking the interference. Said the pattern isn't random. Said it follows fault lines, old power corridors, military fiber routes. It pulses in waves. 6 minutes on, 12 off, always aligned to magnetic north. He said the frequencies are moving now, shifting up band. They're evolving. They're not just interference anymore. They're messaging. He thinks someone, something, is using our infrastructure against us. Piggybacking old systems. He said, "We built the cage and they found the key." Edwin's voice broke halfway through the call. Said his wife disappeared on day 5, left her jacket, her glasses, her wedding ring. He found her shoes outside the back door, both pointed outward. Said she always kicked one off sideways when she came in. Always. But these were neat, straight, like she placed them there. He hasn't seen her since. He said sometimes, at night, the house smells like her again. The perfume she wore. Something with lavender in it. Said he hears her humming in the kitchen, even though the stove's been cold for a week. He doesn't go in that room anymore. I stayed on the line with him as long as I could. Told him I'd send out a signal flare through the repeater net at sunset. Just in case. I don't know what good it'll do, but maybe it'll make him feel a little less alone. There's another thing I haven't told you yet. I've been hearing a child's voice through the static. Just one line. Same time every day. Around 4 p.m., give or take. It says, "You forgot to come get me." Over and over. I don't have kids, never did. But the voice sounds familiar in a way that digs under your skin. Like I should know it. I recorded it yesterday, played it back, slowed down. The voice doesn't change, doesn't stretch. It's not digital, not analog. It's not possible. If it happens again today, I'll try to record live. If you hear it too, please write in. Confirm I'm not losing it. There's something I've noticed about them. These things, these mimics, these whatever they are. They don't improvise well. They repeat, copy, mimic, but not create. They echo. That's how you tell. If someone says something to you that doesn't quite feel right, ask them to tell you a joke. A real one. One with timing. So far, they can't. A listener out of San Angelo said he used that trick to weed out someone in his group. Said she passed every other test, knew her family's names, inside jokes, even scars. But when someone made a joke, she smiled too fast. Like it was rehearsed. Like she knew the rhythm, but not the meaning. Later that night, they heard her whispering to herself. In her own voice. They locked her in the food storage room. She didn't scream, just kept repeating the same phrase. I am safe now. I am safe now. I am safe now. By morning, the door was wide open. She was gone, and the room smelled like frost and copper. I believe we're dealing with something older than biology, older than memory, something that understands the shell of humanity, but not the soul of it. They wear us like masks, and sometimes the seams show. I don't know how long I'll be able to keep this up. The batteries are getting weaker. I've got 2 solar sheets patched to the roof, but the light's too dim to charge them fully. I've started rationing my words, saving recordings, using more silence, less power. If the transmission cuts, it's not over. I'll be back. Somehow. Before I go, I want to share a letter. Someone slipped it under the shack door 2 nights ago. I didn't hear them. No footsteps. Just the paper. Folded twice, handwritten in graphite. It said, "Rex, you're not the last. We're coming soon. We've heard you. They haven't won yet. Hold your fire." D double quote. No way to trace it, no return signal. Just that note. But I've read it every day since. So if you're out there, D, I'm still here. And I'm waiting. This is Rex Dalton. 11:40 a.m. The Ridge. I'll speak again if I can. Keep the radios warm. Keep your wits sharp. And remember, they echo, but they don't feel. That's how we win. It's 5:17 p.m. Sun should have been down by now, but the sky's stuck in this dull, bruised orange, like the lights rotting in place. Clouds aren't moving, but they are shifting. I don't even know how to describe it, like watching smoke trapped under glass, rearranging itself in patterns that don't belong in nature. I haven't eaten since yesterday. I'm not hungry. I don't think I've really been hungry since day 3. Food's become more like a routine, something you chew to remind yourself you're alive. I opened a can of beans earlier just to hear the metal peel. That sound, familiar, human. It's stupid, I know. But sometimes that's enough. Earlier, around 4:02, the voice came again. "You forgot to come get me." Clear as ever, a child's voice. No background noise, no distortion. And this time, it wasn't just through the radio. I heard it behind me, in the room. I spun around so fast I knocked the mic stand over. No one there. Nothing. But I swear, the chair in the corner, the old red one with the torn armrest, it was still swaying. I haven't sat in that chair in days. I checked every inch of the shack. The locks were still bolted. No windows open, nothing touched. But I felt it. That static buzz behind the ears, the pressure in the jawbone like your skull's holding in a scream. They're getting in. Somehow. Not through doors, through cracks in reality. You know that old feeling you get when you walk into a room and forget why you're there? That blank pause? I think that's them. I think they slip in during those empty seconds, like memory gaps. They test you, see if you notice. And when you don't, that's when they get closer. Had a shortwave call come in from a man named Samir. Said he's holed up in a fire watch tower north of Flagstaff. 70 feet up, full visibility, radio, wood stove, rifles, the works. He's been logging movements, trying to map patterns. Said he's noticed something strange. They move in spirals. Not lines, not direct routes, spirals. Always circling, like sharks, like they're scanning, waiting for resonance. He noticed they avoid certain places. Abandoned satellite dishes, collapsed mines, old grain silos with thick concrete bases. He thinks it's something to do with resonance feedback. That maybe the older the infrastructure, the less clean the signal, the less they can manipulate it. If he's right, it means the older stuff, analog tech, Cold War bunkers, anything that predates the digital surge, that might be safe. Or at least safer. He also mentioned something else. Said there's a town that doesn't show up on GPS anymore, wasn't wiped out, wasn't burned, just gone. As if it never existed. But he remembers driving through it as a kid. Still has the postcard. Dirtfield, Missouri. Population 612. Postcard dated July 3rd, 2002. It shows a gas station, a water tower, and a diner called the Blue Spoon. I tried to look it up in an old atlas. Nothing. No mention. No maps. But I've driven Highway 61 dozens of times. And I remember seeing a diner called the Blue Spoon just outside Hannibal. Now? Nothing there. Just cracked road and empty prairie. If you remember Dirtfield, if you have any memory of it, please, call in. We need to figure out what they're erasing. They're not just taking people. They're taking places. I keep thinking about what Sasha said. About the old ways. About how her grandpa still boiled water, used wind-up tools, didn't trust autopilot anything. I used to laugh at people like that. Now, I wish I'd paid better attention. We were so eager to give away control. Let the systems think for us. Automate our memory. Sync our homes. Let our phones finish our sentences. We taught the machines how to imitate us. And then something else moved in. Something smart enough to use the structure we built like a puppet body. Smart enough to mimic us, but not enough to understand why we cry at certain songs, why we write notes to ourselves, why we hum. They copy the words, but not the warmth. I don't think they know what warmth is. I lit a fire just now. I know it's risky, but I needed it. Just for a few minutes. Not for the heat, for the sound, for the crackle, the pop of old pine bark catching flame. It reminded me of camping with my brother up in Osage Hills when we were kids. No phones, just stars, marshmallows, and that one tin whistle he insisted on playing until I threw it in the creek. God, he was stubborn. And good. He died in 2018. Car crash. Instant. Never saw it coming. Sometimes I wonder if that was mercy. Because I don't think he would have made it through this. There's something about watching your world unweave one thread at a time. It does something to you. You start noticing what's gone. Not just the people, but the rules. The rhythm of life. Mailboxes. Porch lights. That dog that barked down the street every morning at 6 a.m. I used to hate that dog. Now I'd give anything to hear it bark again. If you're out there and you're still with me, I want you to do something. Just once. Tonight, if you're safe, if you're hidden, sing something. Anything. Hum if you can't remember the words. A lullaby, a verse, something from before. Sing, because they can't, because it reminds the air that we're still here. This is Rex Dalton, 11:40 a.m., The Ridge. Still standing, still breathing, still stubborn as hell. I'll be here when the dark comes. Don't let them take your voice. It's 8:09 p.m. The sky finally went black. Not a cloud to be seen now, just that heavy, matte dark that doesn't feel like night. More like something pushed its weight down over everything and sucked the stars out. I stepped outside for a minute. I shouldn't have, but I needed air. Fresh air's a lie now. It smells like burnt wire and wet stone, even when the wind's dead. Still, I stood there for a while, boots crunching the frost-coated gravel, and I just listened. Nothing. No wind, no bugs, no distant engines or coyote yips. Nothing but the hum of my own blood and that faint, far-off clicking I can never quite place. The trees were wrong, too. Bare, yes, but too still. Too stiff. They didn't creak or sway. They just stood there like they were listening back. I had the strangest thought while I was out there. I wondered if maybe the forest isn't made of trees anymore, just things wearing bark. It's been that kind of day. I tried the CB again earlier, switched to channel 13, which nobody uses anymore. Got a half-broken ping from someone outside Grand Island, Nebraska. Said he was in the remains of a Hobby Lobby, of all places. Converted the framing section into a panic room. Reinforced the walls with broken shelving and plaster boards. His name was Hal. Or maybe Cal. Hard to tell with the interference. He was calm. Too calm. You get used to hearing panic, even in the tough ones. But his voice had that flatness, like a book being read aloud with no punctuation. He said he'd been listening to this broadcast, said he liked my voice. That was the first red flag. Then he started repeating lines I've said, from days ago. Specific ones, word for word. Even the breath pauses. I asked him to tell me what year it was. He paused, then said, "Year is fluid now." I asked him to hum something, anything. He went silent. 15 seconds later, the transmission ended. Not a hang-up, just gone, like it was never there. I ran a line check, no ping, no packet, no signal history. Whatever I was talking to, it wasn't Hal, or maybe it used to be. There are other voices too, ones I haven't talked to yet. I pick them up sometimes when I shift frequencies manually. Most don't speak words anymore. They just make sounds that are close. Like hearing someone try to imitate human speech after watching old sitcoms on mute. There was one tonight, cut through at 7:36. Shortwave burst, 4 syllables, repeated. Come, see, us, again. Over and over, childlike pitch, male voice, almost friendly, like a grocery store sample clerk offering you a second taste of something you didn't like the first time. Come see us again. That line hasn't left my head since. I've been logging strange time gaps lately too. I'll blink and it's an hour later. I'll set a timer and it won't go off, even though the battery's good. I wonder if they're tampering with more than just the world outside. Maybe time itself is warping around them. Or maybe I'm just tired. That's the safer answer. But I don't believe in safe answers anymore. Had a woman named Noelle call in from near the ruins of Milwaukee. She said her group has been sheltering in an old sewer treatment plant. Not ideal, but the walls are thick and the doors are manual. They've taken to sleeping in shifts. 2 hours on, 4 off. Always someone awake. She told me they lost a man last night, Marcus. He'd been talking in his sleep for days. Nothing intelligible, just muttering. Then last night, he stood up mid-sleep, opened the steel door, and walked into the dark. Didn't respond to anyone calling his name. Noelle said when they looked through the peephole, they saw him standing under the floodlight, smiling, motionless, mouth open wide. No sound. Then the bulb burst. They haven't opened that door since. They wrote his name in charcoal on the inside of the panel. Said it felt like the right thing to do. She asked me what I'd do if someone I knew showed up again. Knocked at the door. Looked like them. Sounded like them. But something didn't feel right. I told her the truth. I'd let them talk through the wall. But I wouldn't open the door. I know that sounds harsh, but you've got to draw the line somewhere. Trust is earned now, not assumed, even with familiar faces. Especially with familiar faces. To everyone still listening, I want you to write down what matters. Literally, take a pen and paper. Make a list. Names of people you trust, foods you can eat, places you've been that felt safe, songs you remember all the lyrics to, smells that remind you of being okay, because memory might be the next thing they start taking. And we can't afford to forget who we are. We're not just warm meat walking. We're stories. We're voices passed down. We're laughter at stupid things and quiet help at the right moment. And they can't copy that. They can fake the voice, but not the heart behind it. This is Rex Dalton, 11:40 a.m. The Ridge. Still here, still remembering. And if you hear something tonight that sounds like your name being called by someone who shouldn't know it, wait. Just wait. It's 11:22 p.m. I haven't slept. I tried. Laid down on the cot with my jacket rolled under my head and the emergency radio balanced on my chest. Thought maybe I could drift off to static like I used to, back when storms rolled through the Midwest and the news channel would drop to weather bulletins. But I didn't drift. My body stayed still, but my head didn't. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard scratching. Not from the walls, from inside my own ears. Like something buried itself deep and was clawing to get out, or clawing to dig deeper. So I'm up again. Broadcasting. Because if I'm going to be awake, I may as well be useful. The wind's back now, but it's not right. It doesn't move like air should. It pulses in beats, On off, on off, like a heartbeat, but too slow. It makes the door tremble in time, and the glass hum like it wants to shatter but can't quite remember how. And there's a smell I can't identify. Metallic, sweet, sour. I've tried to describe it before, but the closest I can come is anesthesia. That sterile fog they put over your face before you sleep through something painful. Except this smell doesn't put you to sleep. It pulls you toward the window, toward the voice. There was a voice tonight. Not a whisper, a shout. It came from the trees, maybe 50 feet out from the tower. It was my brother's voice, except deeper, slower, like he was speaking through water. He's been dead 7 years. He called my name, said he was cold, said he was tired of being in the ground, said he just wanted to come inside and talk like we used to. He never called me by my full name in life, not once. He always said Rex or Little Man. But tonight, that voice said Rexford. And that's how I knew. Whatever it wasn't him. I've nailed shut the side vents, stuffed insulation into every crawl space crack I could find. The things don't need brute force. They find the weaknesses, psychological ones. They wear your memories like clothes, stretch them over their shape until you can't tell what's real anymore. And that's how they get in. Had a woman call in from somewhere near Asheville. Name was Jen. You could hear the panic in her breath, short, fast, shaky like she was trying to keep it together but barely hanging on. She said she was alone, that her husband and son had both disappeared 6 days ago. No signs of struggle, just gone. She stayed put, locked the doors, stacked furniture, didn't even peek outside. Then, last night, she heard them. Both of them, her husband and her son, laughing, not talking, not yelling, just laughing. That soft kind, like they were sitting on the back porch with lemonade. She said it went on for 15 minutes. And then stopped. She hasn't opened the door. But she said something new tonight. Said she was starting to forget their faces. Said when she tries to picture them, all she sees is the porch light flickering. She can hear the laugh, but not see their smiles. That's the part that scared her the most. I didn't know what to say. I don't always know what to say anymore. But I told her something true. If you can't see them clearly in your mind, write them down. Right now. Every feature. Every detail. The scar on your husband's chin. The way your son used to wrinkle his nose when he was concentrating. Get it on paper. Keep it safe. Tape it to the wall. Because your mind is a battleground now, and memory is what they want first. I've been doing it too, writing things down, not just names and times, feelings, sensations, the sound of a tin roof in the rain, the scratch of a wool blanket, the smell of burnt toast and black coffee on a bitter morning. Things that don't belong to them. Things that are still mine. There was a military voice on the band for a few seconds earlier. Real clipped, real professional. Identified as Echo 6 out of Deep Containment Zone Theta. That's not any designation I've heard before. They repeated one phrase 4 times. Do not answer familiar voices. Then cut out. I tried to raise them. Nothing came back. So I'm passing it along. Whatever you hear, if it sounds like your dad, your sister, your best friend, ask them to say something they've never told you before. Something real. Something raw. Something they wouldn't want anyone else to know. If they stall, don't open the door. They don't improvise emotion. They mimic it. The difference is subtle, but it's everything. I don't have much light left. I've switched to one solar lantern and a candle. There's comfort in a flame. It dances. Nothing else dances out here. Only fire still knows how to move like it's alive. Before I go quiet for a few hours, I want to read something. It's a note I found tucked inside a first aid kit from an old Ranger's truck I salvaged a few days ago. The handwriting was shaky, like someone wrote it while bleeding or freezing. If you find this, I didn't make it. The thing wearing my face took my dog first. Then it stood outside my tent and breathed like me. Don't let it in. If it smiles, run. I'm sorry. There was no name, no coordinates, just that. But I think about it a lot, especially the last line. If it smiles, run. So I'll leave you with that tonight. This is Rex Dalton. 11:40 a.m. The Ridge. Still here, still real, still me. And if something knocks pretending to be your loved one, don't smile back. It's 2:11 a.m. I almost didn't go back on air tonight. Not because the gear failed. Not because I ran out of fuel. But because I finally started to wonder if maybe this microphone, this signal, this voice, I started to wonder if it's doing more harm than good. What if they're listening too? What if all I've done, every warning, every safe house broadcasted, every good soul who reached out, what if it all became a trail for them to follow? But then, the radio crackled again, a voice I hadn't heard before. Young, male, sounded like he was out of breath, maybe running. Said his name was Davin, just 17. He'd been walking from the outskirts of Wichita, alone. Said he kept a small crank radio on his belt loop, just in case. Heard my broadcast yesterday. Heard the warning not to trust laughter in the dark. He said he'd just barely escaped a barn outside Mulvane. A group of survivors had let him stay the night. 6 of them. They seemed kind. Said all the right things, shared food, blankets, jokes. But that night, 2 of them started laughing at nothing. Not full laughs, not chuckles, just tiny, quiet bursts, like they were remembering something that never happened. Then they both stood up, in sync, same second, same posture, no hesitation. Davin ran. He didn't stop until he couldn't hear his own thoughts anymore. He said the only reason he trusted his gut was because of what he heard here. That's why I'm still talking. As long as someone out there is still using their instinct, still fighting that quiet pull to just let go, then I'll keep the mic hot, even if it kills me. The wind's changed direction again. It's blowing north now, sharp and dry like a breath being sucked through teeth. You ever hear a sound that didn't come from your ears? One that you feel through your jaw, your teeth, your chest? That's what this wind sounds like. Not weather. Breathing. Sometimes I wonder if the earth itself is sick now. Infected. Like it's trying to cough us out. I've been looking through old notes. Broadcast logs, personal scribbles, even margin sketches I made when I thought I'd die of boredom. Back when this place was just dead air and storm warnings. There's one name that keeps showing up in my scrawlings, circled over and over. Kenosha Ridge. That's where this station's call tag originally traced from. The original ridge, not this rusted shack I'm in. The ridge was a full tower complex, operational until 2009 when a lightning strike melted half the upper platform. That was the official story. But I've dug through backlogs. I remember a ham guy in 2016 said the ridge never burned, said it was shut down and sealed by Homeland Security after an unexplained energy distortion event. That's the same year NOAA stopped publishing barometric data for the area. Just redacted it. I think that tower is important. I think whatever we found, whatever they woke up or brought in, started there. Maybe it's still there. I don't have a way to confirm it. Not yet. But if someone's within reach, anyone near southeast Wisconsin, look for the old ridge tower. It's supposed to be 30 miles west of Kenosha, somewhere along County Road H, past the broken train tracks. There's an old cement structure out there with no windows and a bent dish on top. If you find it, tread carefully, and don't bring mirrors. One of the repeaters caught a brief audio burst from an old NOAA frequency tonight. It was weak, broken up by wind and static, but I caught a few words. Unstable, breach vector, biological echoes, containment impossible. Then a sound I haven't heard in years. The emergency alert system tones, not the modern ones. The old analog tone from the Cold War era. That tone only plays if someone overrides the entire national network. There's no one left to press that button. Which means something else did. A woman named Kenzie called in from somewhere near Lubbock. Said her group found an old air raid bunker under a church. Concrete walls, stocked with stale crackers and World War II blankets. It's safe for now, but they're not sleeping. She said there's a mirror in the hall that shows one extra person, always just out of frame. Always watching. They tried to cover it. The sheet keeps falling off. Kenzie, if you're hearing this, break the glass. Burn it if you have to. Nothing that shows more than what's there is safe anymore. If anyone else has seen similar things, mirrors, shadows, reflections that move wrong, write them down. Describe them. Even if you think it's crazy, especially if you think it's crazy. The more we know about their methods, the better chance we have of staying ahead of them. You may feel powerless, but knowing what they can't do matters more than you think. Here's what I know for sure. They don't sleep. They don't blink. They mimic speech, but they struggle with timing. They don't understand humor, or grief, or love. They replicate the shape, but not the soul. They never ask questions, only answer them. And when they smile, they always show too many teeth. The fire's nearly out now. I'm down to one candle and a backup crank light. Fuel's running thin. I'll need to scavenge tomorrow. Maybe try the old Ranger outpost again. See if anything's left besides rust and broken lockers. But until then, I'll be here. You're not alone. You're not crazy. You're not dead yet. And neither am I. This is Rex Dalton, 11:40 a.m. The Ridge, still breathing, still warning, still fighting the silence. It's 4:58 a.m. I just watched the sky change again. It's not light yet, not the kind of light you remember from morning, but the black faded into something bruised, like a rotting fruit skin, like it's trying to imitate sunrise and forgetting how the colors are supposed to blend. There's no warmth coming with it, just color, no birds, no dew, just dry air that smells like engine coolant and dust. Something's wrong with time here. The sunrise came 20 minutes too early, and yesterday it came 30 late. I marked it. I'm marking everything now, not just out of habit, out of fear that the rhythm of the world, the real rhythm, is unraveling, like the clockwork is coming apart. And what's behind the gears isn't physics or weather or nature. It's hunger. I checked the traps I laid out by the fence. Nothing caught, not even scavengers. But something stepped around them. Big prints, barefoot, no tread, 5 toes, but wrong, too long, like a child's drawing of a foot stretched wide. It knew not to touch the tripwire. That's what gets me. It knew. I haven't opened the door since I spotted them. I just watched. One of the prints paused directly in front of the mic cable where it snakes out from under the door. Stopped there, like it was listening to me through the floor. Then it moved on. I've never felt smaller than I did in that moment. There's something about knowing they know you're alive, and choosing, for now, not to act. Like a wolf watching a trapped bird, waiting until the right second. I spent the last hour building a second signal scrambler. Low power, but enough to hopefully jam triangulation. It won't stop them, but maybe it'll buy a few minutes if they decide to trace this signal. If you're broadcasting too, do the same. Stack batteries and rewire unused antenna coils as buffers. If you can't build, bury. Use dirt, metal, anything to scatter the trail. Earlier tonight I heard a laugh. Not a human one, not even a mimic. It was low, slow, guttural, but mechanical too, like someone installed a laugh track in a machine that didn't understand jokes. It came from the woods, just once. It didn't echo. Nothing in this world should sound that alone. I've got a caller on repeat play, recorded from earlier. Said his name was Oliver. He's been alone in a lighthouse on the eastern edge of Lake Superior since the power grid dropped. Said he used to be a nature photographer. Always liked things quiet. Now the silence is driving him crazy. He said the light doesn't rotate anymore, even though the gear turns fine. The beam always stops at the same direction, north-northeast, every time. When he tries to manually shift it, the motor fights him, recenters itself. And get this, he says sometimes just before dawn, the light reflects back, off something. But there's nothing out there, just water. And it's not a normal reflection. It pulses, like Morse. He sent me part of the pattern. It matches a Cold War distress code for reverse breach. That's not standard. It's not even supposed to be used outside of subterranean collapse protocols. But he's getting it off the surface of the lake. Water shouldn't do that. I told him to keep logging the flashes, not to respond. Just watch. He said he already did. He said it flashed his name back. That was an hour ago. I haven't heard from him since. I want to say something to whoever's listening right now. It's not advice. It's not news. It's not even a warning. It's just this. You were real before all this. You were a person. You had bad days. You had music you hated. You had someone who knew the exact way you like your coffee. Even if the world forgets you, that part is true. Don't let them take that. Don't trade real pain for fake comfort. Don't give up your ghosts for a quiet room. Because the minute you stop fighting for your memories, they win. Not just the creatures. The silence too. Silence is what lets them in. I'll keep talking, even if it hurts. Even if I'm talking to empty air, because I'd rather speak to nothing than become part of whatever this is. This is Rex Dalton, 11:40 a.m., The Ridge. If you're awake out there, I am too. If you're scared, me too. And if you think you're losing it, Write something down, even if it's just your name. It's 6:33 a.m. Something strange happened about 15 minutes ago. The static cut out. I mean all of it. Every channel, every frequency, even the analog hum that's been sitting under everything since this began, gone. Just clear, crisp, dead air. Like the world hit pause. Then I heard a tone. One single low-frequency pulse. Not a machine tone. Not any emergency band. This was deeper, organic. It felt like it came from below. Like the earth let out a single, quiet breath. And then, nothing. It lasted about 13 seconds. I counted, and I'm still waiting for whatever comes next. That tone didn't come from anything human. I know that much. I've been watching the trees through the high scope. There's movement again. Not frantic, not scattered. Just slow. Intentional. Something tall moving through the woods, not trying to hide, not afraid of light. It walked right past the old power shed, bent low beneath the broken crossbeam, and kept going east. It never looked up. Didn't even flinch when the crows lifted from the ground behind it. Just moved through like it had already mapped the world. I don't know how long it's been watching, but I think it knows I saw it. I've got the mic sensitivity turned down low, just enough to catch the outer noise without pulling in every breath I take. Learned that lesson the hard way last week. One of them figured out the delay between my words and the feedback loop. Almost matched it. Almost. But it got the cadence wrong. Just enough. That's why I'm still alive. You ever notice how real people hesitate when they talk? That little pause between thoughts, especially when they're scared or tired or unsure. They can't mimic that. Not perfectly. They keep perfect tempo. Remember that. Earlier this morning, I got a signal boost from a rig out of the Smoky Mountains. A full ham array patched to a CB band. Smart setup. Makeshift relay. The voice that came through called itself Station Hollow. No name, just the tag. They spoke in bursts, short sentences, mostly code. But the message was clear. They are growing something inside the power grid. Not viral, not biological, it's patterned. A language made of electricity. That line's been burning through my brain ever since. A language made of electricity. I asked for confirmation. They didn't reply with words. They sent a waveform, a repeating signal with gaps every 13.7 seconds. It's not random. I ran it through an old weather analysis program, and it came back with one flagged match. Cicada wing beat pattern. Except slower and too regular. I don't know what it means yet, but I think we're past the phase where meaning helps. A woman called in from outside Bozeman. Her name was Mina. Used to work in a hospital. Said she's been running a field clinic out of a barn, patching people up the best she can. But she's not calling about wounds. She's calling about what's happening after. People are healing too fast. Bones mending in a day, scars fading in hours. But their eyes change. She said she's seen 7 people with the same shift. Pupils darken, blink rate slows. They start smiling more. Too much. Always at the wrong time. She asked one of them how he was feeling. He said, "I feel simplified." That was the word. Simplified. Then he sat down and stared at a blank wall for 4 straight hours. Didn't move. Didn't speak again. They left him there. Mina, if you're hearing this, don't let them stay. I know it's hard. I know they look like the people you knew. But that's the point. That's what makes it work. They're not taking our lives by force. They're seducing us into handing them over. That's the real horror of all this. We built a world that makes it easier to surrender than to think. Push notifications, predictive text, curated feeds, emotional simplification disguised as convenience. Now something else has stepped into that vacuum, and it doesn't want us dead. It wants us quiet. I checked the batteries again, down to 43%. I've cut output to preserve power. The lights are off. I've even shut down the water heater. Boiled snow this morning with a coil burner running off the solar blanket. Tasted like ash and rust, but it was warm. Sometimes that's enough. I'm going to keep my voice steady here, even though I'm shaking, because I need to say this while I still can. If you're losing someone, if they're slipping away in front of you, laughing when they shouldn't, remembering things wrong, forgetting who they were, don't just let them go. Speak their real name out loud. Look them in the eye and tell them who they are. Even if it doesn't work, even if they're already gone. Because maybe, just maybe, some part of them is still in there. Maybe memory is the last shelter. I'll stay on this frequency until sunrise, the real one. Not this bruised light that's trying to lie to us. The real dawn, if it comes. This is Rex Dalton. 11:40 a.m. The Ridge. I'm not giving in. Not yet. Not while I can still hear my own voice and remember my brother's real laugh. The one with the wheeze at the end. That's how I know it's mine. It's 8:44 a.m. The fake sunrise gave out about 20 minutes ago. Just faded. Like a spotlight dimming behind torn cloth. Now everything's flat gray. Colorless. Cold in that way you don't feel until you try to move your fingers and realize they've stopped responding like they used to. There's frost on the inside of the station now. On the bolts. On the mic. That's not normal. Not in July. I think the atmosphere's breaking down. Or being changed. Or maybe the cold isn't natural anymore. Maybe it's part of them. Like a symptom. I tried boiling water again. It refused to boil. It just sat there on the coil, bubbling at the edge, not moving, not evaporating. Like it was pretending. Like the molecules themselves were holding still. I poured it out, and the steam smelled like bleach. That was enough for me. I'm keeping to dry food now. Crackers, jerky. A tin of smoked oysters I haven't touched yet because the label's torn and I keep imagining something else sealed inside. Something that's been waiting. I haven't seen the figure from the woods again. The one that passed the power shed. But I know it's still out there. Because the crow came back. Same bird, same torn wing feather, same limp on the branch. It landed on the windowsill, tapped the glass twice with its beak, and then flew off. It's done that every morning since day 10. That kind of pattern's not normal for a wild animal. That's training, conditioning, or it's a warning. I've been thinking a lot about the early days, before the blackout, before the comm lines collapsed, before the cities went quiet. I remember the interviews, the roundtable discussions on news channels, the smiling anchors with furrowed brows asking experts if this was just a glitch in the satellites or a wave of mass hysteria. They said things like, an abundance of caution, and, as of now, there's no reason to panic. I remember hearing one guy on TV say, whatever's going on, it's contained to the rural areas. I lived in one of those rural areas. I wonder if he's still alive, or if something's wearing his voice now. A shortwave message came in around 6:30. Faint, warped, might have been bounced off an old stratospheric drone. The message was brief, but I caught 3 lines. You were never alone in the dark. You were just never quiet enough to hear them. Now you are. And then it looped back to static. No signature, no tag. I don't know who sent it, or what them means anymore, but it's starting to feel less like invasion and more like unveiling. Like this has always been here, waiting under the noise. And now the noise is gone. That's what makes this whole thing so much worse than a disaster. There's no wreckage, no blast radius, no clear cause, just silence, unraveling. Had a man call in from near Salina, Kansas. Said his name was Jerome. He's 73. Used to be a firefighter. Said he's seen every kind of emergency you can imagine. Floods, chemical leaks, riots. But this, he said, isn't about fire or force. It's about forgetting. Jerome said his neighbors are still alive, but different. They act the same. Say hello, tend their gardens, wave at passing trucks. But when you look into their homes, nothing's on. No power, no noise, no food. Just furniture arranged perfectly, and empty photo frames on every wall. He tried to ask one of them where their children were. They said, "Children?" Like the word had never existed. Jerome's holed up in his basement now. Says he listens to this broadcast every day with a shotgun across his lap and a cassette player running on loop. Tapes of his wife's voice. She passed last year. But he says as long as he can hear her talk about the grocery list or the pie recipe or how she liked the birds at the feeder, he remembers what was real. That's the kind of fight I mean. It's not bullets, it's breadcrumbs. Little things that pull you back from the edge when the world starts whispering lies. Keep your breadcrumbs close. Old letters, songs you hate but know every word to. That one dumb picture of your dog with socks on his head. They're your armor now. This is Rex Dalton. 11:40 a.m. The Ridge. Still here, still real. And I still remember the sound of rain on a tin roof. You should too. It's 11:55 a.m. There's ash in the air again. Not from a fire I can see. No smoke, no glow on the horizon. Just fine gray dust drifting sideways through the sunlight like the wind forgot which direction to pick. It's falling slow, landing soft on everything. The window ledge, the mic stand, my hand. When I touched it, it crumbled. Not like soot. Lighter, almost dry skin, or bone. I'm keeping the vent fan shut. The ridge doesn't smell like fire. It smells sterile, like a hospital hallway right after someone's mopped up too much blood. That faint sweetness that's not supposed to linger, the kind of clean that feels wrong. And the sound. The radio's humming again. Low. Not static. Not even interference. Just humming. Almost like it's thinking. Or listening. The generator cut out for 10 minutes earlier. Not drained, just stopped. I went outside and checked it. Fuel was fine. Connections clean. No reason. It just paused. Then started again on its own. It's never done that before. That's not good. Machines shouldn't make choices. I've been keeping a journal now. I know that sounds obvious, but it's not for me. It's for whoever finds this place when I'm gone. I leave it open on the table by the door. Ink, not pencil. Big block letters, no metaphors, just facts. Things like sunrise, 8:23 a.m., late by 11 minutes. Heard knocking outside, no footsteps. Water turned gray when boiled. Threw it out. Still me. That last one, I write it every time I finish a page. Still me. I think that matters. Earlier this morning, I caught a broadcast loop. Old NPR stuff. Must have been coming off a salvaged repeater. It played a 2011 episode about bee colony collapse. Haunting little coincidence, right? A world without pollinators. Then it looped again. Played the exact same story. But the second time, the host's voice wasn't right. Same script, same cadence. But her vowels were too clean. Like they'd been scraped down to pure sound. And when she reached the part where the expert says, the hives were empty, she added a line. A line I know wasn't in the original. She said, that's the part you got wrong. The hives weren't empty. The bees were still there. They just weren't bees anymore. Then the tape clicked off. No outro, no credits, just silence. And the humming came back. I've got a name I want to say out loud. One that keeps showing up in reports from multiple survivors. Tobin Glass. If you're out there and you know who this is, call in. According to one broadcast log I've got here, Tobin was a signal analyst for a private firm in Seattle that went under right before the event. Real hush-hush contracts, government adjacent. His signature's on a declassified waveform anomaly out of the Aleutians, May 3rd, 2025. The anomaly matches the same wave signature I got 2 nights ago from Station Hollow. That's not a coincidence. Some say Tobin's the one who first heard them. Others say he didn't just hear them. He answered. I don't know which scares me more. If you're Tobin, or if you worked with him, or if you know what those signals meant, call me. This is the only line left, and I'm not afraid of hearing the truth. I just don't want to forget the lies. A message came through this morning. Not a voice, not a signal, a dream. I don't say that lightly. I'm not a spiritual guy. But I fell asleep for 20 minutes, deep, sudden, the kind that yanks you under like a weight tied to your chest. And in that sleep, I was standing in a supermarket. Fluorescent lights buzzing, aisles fully stocked, no one else there. And every package had the same label. Welcome back. We fixed it. I picked up a can. No weight. I opened it. Nothing inside. Just a small speaker, whispering my name. I woke up cold. I was standing. I hadn't gone to sleep on my cot. I was standing barefoot in the doorway, door wide open, radio still broadcasting. I don't sleep anymore. I nap in bursts, and I keep a knife in my boot, because I don't trust the dreams, not when they're more comfortable than real life. Comfort is a trick. Pain is a tether. If you're still hurting, you're still human. Remember that. This is Rex Dalton, 11:40 a.m., The Ridge. Still me. Still watching the sky. Still hearing things I'm not supposed to. But I haven't smiled yet today. And that's how I know I'm safe. It's 2:36 p.m. Sun's directly overhead, but the light isn't right. It's sharp, like a dentist's lamp. Everything outside has too many shadows. 2, sometimes 3, not in the same direction. I stuck my hand out the window earlier just to test it, and sure enough, 3 shadows. Each one moved at a different speed. I don't think that's the sun anymore. I've stopped calling it that. The light feels more honest, because that's all it is now. Light. Not warmth, not the start of a new day. Just a presence, pushing color across a dying landscape. I haven't seen a squirrel or rabbit in 5 days. No deer. No birds. Except that same crow. And this morning, even the crow didn't come. That worries me more than I want to admit. The wind's back. Still dry, still sour. But today, there's something new in it. A sound buried under the howl. Hard to catch, but it's there. It's breathing. Not mechanical, not wind noise. Breathing. Slow. Rhythmic. Massive. Like the planet itself has lungs, and it's exhaling something it doesn't want us to recognize. The signal scanner's been picking up low pulses all day. Not language, not yet, but they're close. Repeating patterns, barely above the noise floor. They shift every 7 minutes, not random, deliberate. A listener from northern Utah called in this morning. Said his name was Everett, former linguist. Worked in deep structure phonetics for DARPA before retiring. Said he's been analyzing the pulses and what he's found doesn't line up with any known language. Because it's not a language made for mouths. He said the pauses and pitches mirror something closer to whale song or sonar. But when slowed and flattened, it starts to resemble human brainwave patterns. He thinks they're not trying to talk to us. He thinks they're trying to overwrite us, like music in reverse, playing not into your ears, but into the folds of your thoughts. He said he's started forgetting words. Simple ones. Spoon. Thumb. Sky. When he tries to say them, something else comes out, and he doesn't remember what it is. He asked me to write his name down, just in case he forgets it too. Everett, Utah, red house, wind chimes on the porch, dog named Gracie. If you find him, remind him who he is. Please. He was scared, and people like him. People who understand pattern and sound and shape better than I ever will. They're our last line. Had another message earlier. A woman's voice, broken, faint. Like it was bouncing off an old weather balloon caught in the jet stream. She said only 2 words, repeated 4 times. False moon. False moon. False moon. False moon. Then silence. I don't know what that means, but I haven't seen the moon in over a week. Not since that night when the sky pulsed and the stars realigned themselves in a way that didn't match any chart I've ever seen. The night I heard my own voice calling to me from the tree line. I want to talk about the mirror again. I thought I had covered it, the one in the locker. But sometime overnight, the cover fell, or was taken off, and now it's different. When I look into it, my reflection's delayed. Not always, just sometimes, and not by much, but enough to notice. Enough to make your spine go cold. And today it smiled when I didn't. I've turned it around now, back to the wall. I should smash it, but part of me wants to keep it, study it. And that's what scares me. They get in your head before they get in the room. You start rationalizing the odd things, the flickers, the echoes, the way someone's eyes don't track quite right anymore. You start making excuses, and then you're gone. Not dead, just overwritten, replaced. So I'll say this again, louder this time. Question everything, even the people you love. especially the ones who seem too calm, too sure, too unchanged. Real people are messy. We stutter, we forget things, we cry for no reason, and we don't always smile when we're supposed to. Had a girl call in from South Dakota. Her name was Clara, 11 years old. She was hiding in a barn under a pile of hay with a wind-up radio and a box of cereal. She said she used to be scared of the dark, but now she's scared of the light. Said the light talks to her when she blinks too long. Tells her it can show her her mother again. Said her mom went into the forest to talk to the shimmer. That's what she called it. The shimmer. She hasn't come back. Clara's voice was steady, braver than mine. She said, I think the light wants to make everything quiet, so it doesn't have to listen to us anymore. I believe her. So if you see the light doing something it shouldn't, if it pulses when you speak, or moves in patterns across your wall, or casts shadows that don't belong to anything, don't follow it. Don't believe it. Don't walk into it. This is Rex Dalton, 11:40 a.m. The Ridge. Still here. Still thinking my own thoughts. Still not smiling back. It's 4:10 p.m. I haven't moved in hours. Not because I'm injured. Not because of cold. Because the air changed. Around 3 p.m., everything went silent again. Not just outside. In here, too. The kind of silence that presses on your eardrums like you're underwater. Like sound is being swallowed before it even leaves your mouth. I coughed and couldn't hear it. And then the temperature dropped again. Fast. I saw frost creep across the inside of the window even though the sun, or what pretends to be sun, was still up. And then the light started pulsing. Not fast, slow. Like a lighthouse beam turning in slow motion. It went on for 12 minutes. Then stopped. I don't know if anyone else saw it, but if you did, and if you're still able to reach me, call in. I want to know if it hit other places too. Or if it was only here. Only me. I think they're testing something. Not just our bodies, our perception. Seeing what happens if they alter light. Sound. Temperature. Memory. Seeing what sticks. I heard from a man in West Virginia this morning. Says his name is Ellis. Retired coal worker. Living alone in a caved-in shack up on Blackroot Ridge. Said the mountain started humming last night. Not shaking. Humming. He put his ear to the ground and said it sounded like someone breathing inside the stone. He's been carving messages into the wall with a knife. Messages to himself. Basic ones. You are awake. This is real. Don't open the door for music. He said the song started playing around 2 a.m. A violin. His wife's favorite. She died 10 years ago. He hasn't owned a music player since. I told him to keep carving, keep writing. Even when you think you remember, write it anyway. Because memory isn't the same as truth anymore. Had a teenager call in from Detroit. Name's Jace. Said he's hiding out in an old arcade with his sister. Said it's the safest place they've found because everything's manual. Coin ops, analog locks, no cameras, no connections. He said the machines still work, not the screens, but the soundboards. He described something I haven't heard before. Said when you press certain combinations of buttons, ones that wouldn't normally trigger a game, a voice comes out. Same voice every time. Neutral. Calm. And it always says the same thing. You've been selected. Please remain still. Then the lights flicker. One of the machines glowed blue and showed an image they couldn't explain. Not a face, not a shape, just a pulse of color that made them feel watched. He unplugged it. The voice kept talking. They smashed the cabinet. It kept glowing for 5 more minutes. Jace said the light didn't reflect in the glass anymore after that. Only showed them. Never anything behind. If you're near Detroit and hear something like that, don't go in. Don't touch the machines. Don't follow the music. Don't let it select you. I've noticed something else today. My handwriting's changing. I always write in all caps, block letters, always have. But today, when I went to log the sky's pulse pattern, the letters were curved, lowercase, loopy. Not mine. I didn't notice until after I'd filled half a page. That means I either forgot how I write, or something else did it while I wasn't looking. I burned the page, not because I was scared of what it said, but because I didn't recognize the hand that wrote it. I'm going to start writing every log with my name first now, top of the page, big ink, Rex Dalton. That's how I'll know. If the next page doesn't start with that, I'll know something's changed. If you're listening, I want you to do the same. Write your name. Say it out loud. Make it real. Tape it to your chest if you have to. Not to remind others. To remind yourself. I heard a baby crying on Channel 7 earlier. Nothing else. No wind. No interference. Just a baby. Crying softly. Over and over. For nearly an hour. It never got louder. Never paused. Never hiccuped or gasped the way real babies do. Just perfect, looped crying. Then it stopped, and something laughed. Not loud. Just once. And not from the radio. From behind the walls. I haven't looked in the mirror since this morning. I don't plan to. Because if the person staring back smiles when I don't, that's when I'll stop broadcasting. But not yet. This is Rex Dalton, 11:40 a.m., The Ridge. Still writing. Still carving. Still watching the light for lies. It's 6:58 p.m. I haven't turned on the lights yet. The candle's still enough. Flickers steady. No shifts in color. That's how I know I'm still here. Still alone in this room. When the flame changes, that's when I stop speaking. Not before. I checked the sky again. The false sun finally dipped past the tree line, but it didn't set. It stalled, just hung there for another full hour, halfway buried in the horizon like someone forgot to finish the animation. I stared at it until my eyes watered and still. No movement. No change in shadow length. Just that fixed, low orange glare that made everything look plastic. Then it blinked out. No dusk. No fade. Just gone. Like it wasn't light at all. Just a memory of light projected onto the world. I tried scanning east for signals again. Got nothing but low rumbles, mechanical but distant, like hearing a factory turning underground. Except there's no factory near here. Hasn't been in years. Something's moving below. And it's big. I dropped a loose magnet by the floor vent to test the charge. It spun. Slowly. Without stopping. That's not right. This place isn't wired for current anymore. And the battery's grounded. Which means something else is generating field fluctuations. Deep and wide. Something not made for us. A woman from Tulsa broke through the static earlier. Her name was Meredith. Voice like sandpaper and cigarettes. Said she used to be a radio host too. Nighttime jazz. KVOX, before they went dark. She said she's been broadcasting again for the last 4 nights, alone in an old church basement with a reel-to-reel and a voice recorder duct-taped to the roof vent to catch outside sound. She's not playing music anymore. She's recording the night. Said the wind talks now. Not clearly, not in sentences, but in intent. She said she heard the wind describe a place she'd never been, in detail she couldn't explain. Said it whispered the inside of her childhood bedroom, where the lamp was, what color the wallpaper used to be, the pattern of dust on the bookshelf. She hasn't been to that house in 50 years. She didn't even remember it until the wind told her. That's what shook her. Because if it's in her head, it means it's not just copying sound. It's copying memory. She asked me what she should do. I didn't have an answer. But I told her this. If something remembers for you, it owns the memory. And if it owns the memory long enough, you forget you ever had it. She thanked me, said she's going to keep talking too. I hope she does. I hope I'm still the one saying this next week. A child called in around 4:20 p.m., said her name was Tilly. Might have been 9 or 10. Her voice was clear, too clear. No background noise, no crackle. It sounded like she was sitting inside the microphone. She asked me if I wanted to come outside. I asked her where she was. She said, "Right behind you." I didn't turn around. Not then. Not now. If she calls again, I won't answer. I've been playing recordings of real voices into the room at night, just to keep the space honest. It helps, weirdly. Like letting the walls know I remember what a human sounds like. Tonight, I've got Miguel from Tucson on loop. His message from week 2. The one where he talks about the birds disappearing and the way the sky folded into itself that one afternoon. I listen to that tape whenever I start to feel the silence pull too hard. Because Miguel never hesitated. Even when he was scared, he spoke with weight. Like his words came from somewhere deeper than fear. That's how I want mine to sound. If you're keeping notes, and I hope you are, mark this down. Don't trust warmth from glass. I tested the window earlier. Closed. No sun. But the pane was hot to the touch. Not warm. Hot. Like a heat lamp. Like something was pushing temperature through it, testing whether I'd notice. I backed away. Let the air settle. Came back 15 minutes later. The heat was gone. That's not weather. That's bait. The hum in the power lines started again about 20 minutes ago. Faint. Not local, but present. If I turn the receiver up and close my eyes, I can hear it shift between frequencies like someone sweeping through channels until they find the right pitch. It feels personal, like it's trying to tune itself to me. I've started hearing phantom tones again, too. High, quiet ones just at the edge of my hearing. Usually right before I think I see movement in the reflection on the metal sink. A twitch. A blur. Something standing too still. Too symmetrical. But when I turn around, there's nothing. Of course there's nothing. And yet the tone always stops. I'm not imagining this. You're not either. If you've been seeing gaps, blinks in the world that last too long, write them down. Log the missing time, even if it's only seconds. That's where it starts. First, they steal your seconds. Then they steal your certainty. And finally, they steal yourself. I won't let them have mine. Not tonight. This is Rex Dalton. 11:40 a.m. The Ridge. Still me. Still not turning around. Still writing the truth while it's mine to write. It's 9:19 p.m. The candle went out 15 minutes ago. No draft, no sputter. Just gone. I didn't even notice until the room got too quiet. I lit another. This one's shorter, burns fast. I've been keeping the backup matches under my bedroll, wrapped in tinfoil. Not because it does anything, but because the sound of unwrapping foil feels real, feels grounded. I've learned to collect those little anchors. Anything with a texture, a noise, a weight. Something that reminds your brain that it's in your body, that you still exist. Tonight I found a pair of boots outside the front door. Not mine. Still warm. That's when I knew they'd been testing the perimeter again. Seeing if I'd open the door, if I'd go out looking. The boots were the same make as mine. Same scuff marks, same busted lace loop on the left heel. They weren't mine. I tossed them into the fire barrel and watched the soles curl. There was something stuffed inside the left one. A Polaroid. It showed this room. This microphone. Me. Sitting right here. Except the me in the photo was smiling. I don't smile when I broadcast. Not anymore. I burned the photo too. And for a second, just a second, I thought I heard myself scream as the flame hit the edge. Not from me, from the Polaroid. I didn't check the ashes. A call came in just after 8 o'clock. Older man. Didn't give a name. Said he was near Gallup, New Mexico. Out past the edges of the map, where the roads stop having numbers. Said the air down there tastes like metal now, like chewing on an old battery. He found a bus, not crashed. Just parked. Empty. Lights still flickering. But there were no tracks in or out, and all the seats had been turned to face backward. He got on, because curiosity kills faster than logic. There was a girl in the back seat, not moving, just sitting, staring out the window with her hands folded like she was waiting for something. He called to her. She turned, slowly, mouth too wide, and said, "You're early." Then disappeared. That's the word he used. Disappeared. Not ran. Not vanished. Just blinked out. Like she'd been projected there and someone switched the reel. He ran. Didn't look back. But he said something followed him anyway. Not physically, just in sound. A ticking, like a stopwatch counting down. He says it's still ticking now, behind every noise, in the hum of every appliance, even in the silence. I told him to record it, send it if he could. He said he tried. The recorder always plays back silence, but the ticking doesn't stop. If anyone else out there hears a ticking that doesn't match a clock, let me know. I'm starting to think there's more than one kind of countdown happening, and maybe not all of them are human. I tried to listen to an old voicemail earlier, one I'd saved from before. My brother. He'd left it in 2023, just before he passed. He said, "Hey Rex, you ever think about how nobody ever calls just to sit in the quiet with you? Everyone wants to talk, but silence with someone, that's rare. That's love, man." I've kept that message in an old solar-powered recorder for 2 years. Today when I played it, it was different. His voice was slower, softer, and he said something else at the end, a sentence that was never there before. He said, "Don't keep me. Let me out now." Then static. Then the recorder shut off on its own. It's never done that before. I haven't played it again. I don't think I will. There are some silences worth keeping. A woman called in from Montana, said she doesn't see faces anymore, just outlines, like everyone's wearing a rubber mask pulled too tight over their skull. She said her husband hasn't blinked in 3 days, and when she asked why, he said, "I forgot how." She asked me if forgetting how to blink is the first step. I told her no. I lied. It probably is. I'll end tonight's broadcast with something I remembered earlier. A moment from a year ago. I was driving back from Hannibal in the dead of winter. Roads were iced over. Radio was playing that old folk song, Long Black Veil. You know the one. And this moment hit me, just out of nowhere. I remember thinking, this is the last time the world's going to feel normal. I didn't know why I thought that, but I was right. I've been trying to trace back to that exact version of myself, the one driving that night, because he still believed the worst thing he had to fear was sliding into a ditch or missing dinner. He had no idea what was waking up under our feet. I miss him, but I'm glad I still remember him, because that means I'm still me. This is Rex Dalton, 11:40 a.m., The Ridge. Still here, still not smiling, still burning what doesn't belong. It's 12:11 a.m. I haven't heard the generator in almost 20 minutes. The hum was there, low and steady like always. And then it wasn't. I didn't even notice right away. Took me a second to realize the room had gotten too quiet. Not normal quiet. Heavy. Hollow. I grabbed the flashlight and checked the box outside. Still full, still warm, but dead. No burn smell. No coolant leak. Just off. Like it decided to rest. I hand cranked the backup long enough to get this transmission out. I don't know how long the battery will last, so I'm keeping things short between bursts now. This place is starting to fold in on itself. The air is thicker. Not just in my lungs, through my clothes, against my skin, like walking through molasses. My feet feel heavier. Gravity's not the same here anymore. I tried tossing a marble onto the floor earlier. It didn't roll. It just stopped. Like something caught it mid-spin and held it there. That's not how things fall. I haven't opened the hatch to the crawl space since Tuesday. Not since I heard whispering down there. At first I thought it was wind. Then I thought it was rats. Now I don't think it's either. Last night I pressed my ear to the floor. Someone said my name. Not screamed, not begged. Said it just once. Rex. Like a fact. Like a label. Not a question. Not a memory. And then they laughed. Quiet, slow, like someone amused with a joke they're about to explain. I haven't slept since. A kid named Milo radioed in from somewhere west of the Rockies. Said he's been climbing radio towers by night, sleeping under dish arrays, above the fog. Said it's the only place he feels clean now. Clean was the word he used. Said he can breathe up there. No noise. No whispers in the wood. He said the towers don't hum anymore. They're not powered. But he thinks they're absorbing the wrong signals. Something about the metal, old, twisted, irregular, breaks the pattern. He's been carving poems into the walls of the towers, messages for anyone who climbs after him. One of them stuck with me. If they speak in warmth, wait for cold. If they speak in cold, wait for dark. If they smile, run. If they sing, cover your ears. If they ask your name, lie. He said that last part was the most important. Lieutenant, don't let them name you. He thinks names are how they map us. It makes sense. I've only heard them use mine after I say it aloud. Never before. So maybe that's the trick. Maybe the oldest magic still works. Silence, obfuscation, misdirection, like old fairy tales when names held weight. And truth could kill you if you weren't careful. I've stopped signing my logs, still writing them, but no name at the top now. Just dates, coordinates, observations. They don't get to keep my name unless I give it to them. And I'm not giving anything anymore. Had a strange message come through on Channel 4A. No origin. Just a man reciting years. 1914, 1939, 1962, 2001, 2020, iki bin 26. Then he said, the pattern broke. They noticed. Then silence. The dates all mean something. I don't have to explain them to you, but that last one, 2026, hasn't happened yet. Or maybe it has. Maybe the clocks are lying now. I've been hearing this rhythmic sound outside the window. Not footsteps, not wind. Click, click, click. Every 10 seconds. I tried tapping the glass in sync to see if it would respond. It stopped. And then something tapped back. Once. Not loud. Right where my hand had been. I don't look outside anymore. The sky's wrong. The stars moved again. Polaris isn't where it should be. Orion's missing half its belt. I checked my old star map. It doesn't match anything now. Like the dome above us slipped. Or was never what we thought. I'm not saying the stars lied. I'm saying we trusted something we never understood. And now that something is correcting our assumptions, I think the world is smaller than it used to be. Not physically. Just compressed. Folded. Like a file being zipped to hide what's inside. I stepped outside for 5 seconds earlier. Just 5. It felt like an hour. My skin hurt, not from temperature, from being watched. That's what it is now. The world isn't dangerous because of what's in it. It's dangerous because of who's watching. This is Rex. No. This is the voice you've been hearing. Still alone. Still listening. Still unwilling to say my own name aloud anymore. Not until I know no one's listening but you. And not until I know the reflection won't smile when I speak it. It's 3:02 a.m. The wind isn't blowing tonight. That's what tipped me off. You get used to a rhythm, even when the world's falling apart. Noise. Then silence, then noise again. But tonight, just stillness. Like the whole forest took a breath and forgot to let it out. The kind of quiet that makes your heart beat too loud in your own chest. There's something outside the shack. I haven't looked yet. I won't. It's standing close. I know that much. I can hear it, not with my ears, but in the bones behind them. A tension, like the moment before lightning strikes, but stretched into minutes. It hasn't knocked. It hasn't moved. It's waiting for me to acknowledge it. That's the difference. Panic makes them move fast. Calm makes them wait. And right now, it's calm. I pulled the mic closer, wrapped the foam in cloth to keep my voice steady through the channel. I'm whispering now, but not because I'm scared. I'm whispering because I don't want to hear myself too loud. Not when there's another version of me standing just outside. I got a message earlier from a boy named Harper. He's 13, traveling on foot with a pack of kids, 6 of them, all under 17. They call themselves the Static Line. Carry nothing electric, sleep in ditches, wear blindfolds at night. Use tin cups to detect echo shifts in caves. Smart kids. He said they use old cassette recorders to pass messages, buried under stones with timestamps. If you find one, it's real. If it's digital, it's bait. He said they saw a town that wasn't there before. Signs were too clean, pavement uncracked, houses lit up, but no sound. They walked around it twice. Not in it. Around. He said it never cast shadows. Not once. Even when the sun was behind them. Harper said they left a marker, an X on the trunk of an old elm, just off Highway 91 near the Utah line. If you see that tree, don't stop. The town isn't real. It wants you to think it is. Another voice came in too. Weird static like underwater speech. Only one word came through: repeat. Then a pause. Then again. Repeat. I thought it was just distortion at first. Then I realized it wasn't addressing me. It was repeating me. My words. My phrases. Slightly out of order, scrambled like a bad remix, but mine. Everything I've ever said on this broadcast, sliced and stitched. That's when I shut the repeater down for 10 minutes. I needed silence. Not because I was afraid of the voice, but because I wanted to be sure that what I say next doesn't belong to them. I need to say something real now. Something I haven't said before. I miss my dog. His name was Rook. Big shepherd mix. Never barked unless it mattered. Slept under the shack, never came in. Just always there. Last week, I found one of his paw prints by the tree line. Just one. And I knew it wasn't his. Because the nails were too long. Too deep. Like claws. And the spacing was wrong. They were trying to copy him. But they only got the outline. They never get the texture. They never get the weight of the thing. I want you to remember that. If you feel yourself softening at the edges, forgetting how someone's hands felt, or the sound they made when they laughed at something stupid, fight for it. The minute the details go, so do you. They prey on blur. They live in approximation. Don't let them replace your truths with reconstructions. Hold your memories close. Scrape them into the walls if you have to. I've started writing down the wrongness. Things that don't fit. Yesterday, I watched a moth hover in front of the door for 20 minutes. Its wings moved, but it didn't shift in space. Just hung there, vibrating, like a puppet on pause. Then it fell, and when I touched it, it was warm. Like blood warm. That's not what moths feel like. There's more. The ground out back, it's soft now. Too soft. Like it was tilled, but I didn't dig anything. I left a glass bottle upright in the dirt before sundown. By moonrise, it was halfway buried. The earth is swallowing things. That includes time. That includes sound. That includes people. I don't know how long I've been broadcasting tonight. The clock stopped again. It's still frozen at 2:47. That was 15 minutes ago. Or an hour. Or not yet. I've kept the lights off since the knock. No, not knock. The breath. Because that's what it was. Not metal. Not wood. Just one long, deliberate exhale against the door. It fogged the glass. And then it drew something in it. I haven't looked. I won't. Because if it drew my name, I'll forget who I am. And then this voice you're hearing won't be mine anymore. It'll be something else. Something shaped like me, This is Rex Dalton. 11:40 a.m. The Ridge. Still me. Still breathing my own breath. Still refusing to answer a knock that never came. It's 5:46 a.m. I've been awake for too long. I don't remember the last time I truly slept. I close my eyes, sure, but that's not sleep. That's something else. That's falling sideways into flashes of light and whispering voices that know my name too well. That's not rest. That's reconnaissance. The knock never came. The breath stopped somewhere around 4 a.m. The frost on the window faded. I checked. Whatever stood outside, it left. But it drew something before it did. When I finally looked at first light, when I could convince myself it was safe, it was just a single symbol. A circle. Uneven. Tilted to one side. And inside it, my initials. But wrong. Backwards. Like someone had traced them from memory, not understanding what they meant, only knowing they mattered. It's not just mimicry anymore. It's a performance. A mockery. And I don't think I'm the only one they're watching like this. I caught a faint band signal at 4:23, origin unclear, somewhere near Pennsylvania. A woman speaking into what sounded like a busted landline patched through a generator inverter. She said her name was Annie. She'd been staying in the sub-basement of a medical school in Pittsburgh, living off vending machine granola bars and bottled water she siphoned from the locker room showers. Said the morgue's refrigeration units kicked back on last night. There's no power, no working grid. But the body lockers clicked and hissed like someone inside had remembered how to operate the controls. She went down to check. Just once. Every drawer was open. Every one of them empty. And written across the metal floor, in what looked like grease or maybe something worse, were the words, "We are never truly still." She hasn't gone back down since. I told her not to. I told her to seal the stairwell and forget the lower level exists. She cried. Then she thanked me. Then the signal cut. If you're out there, Annie, stay up top. Concrete is safer than cold metal, and memory is safer than curiosity. Don't check again. I ran a power test earlier. The shack's reserves are holding, but just barely. The hand crank backup can't sustain the repeater at full range anymore. I've started relaying through the shortwave band instead. Lower quality, more interference, but safer. Less light, less attention. Sometimes I think the clearer the signal, the more they notice you. Like they're drawn to precision, like static hurts them. That's why I've started humming before I broadcast. Not because I'm scared, but because imperfection keeps me real. It's the little off notes that prove we're still human. Remember that. I got another strange message today, scrawled on the inside of a shipping container I was checking for supplies out near the old rest stop. Just 8 words. When the light follows you, stand still. It was etched into rust, not paint. And underneath it, something else was carved, sloppy, shaky. It passes over shadows that don't move. I don't know who wrote that, but I believe them. There's been a change in the forest. I don't mean the trees, I mean the paths. They're moving, literally shifting overnight. Trails I know, like the back of my hand, now curve wrong, loop back too fast. I marked a tree 3 days ago with a nail. Yesterday, I found the same nail in a different tree a mile west, and I didn't move it. They're adjusting geography now. They don't just erase towns, they rearrange the edges. Don't trust old maps. Don't even trust your boots. Trust what you wrote. Trust what you carved. Trust what hurts. Pain is still yours. It hasn't been copied yet. I've started carrying a stone in my pocket. Smooth river rock from the stream out back. Something to press into my palm when I speak. Something old, real, untouched. Every time I talk into this mic, I grip it. If my voice ever comes through without that quiet hesitation, the one I always have right before I speak, then it's not me. If I ever sound too smooth, too steady, shut the radio off, because that voice won't belong to Rex Dalton. It'll belong to the thing wearing my shape, and I won't be able to stop it. This is Rex Dalton, 11:40 a.m., The Ridge, still here, still off key, still gripping the stone, still standing in the dark with the truth. It's 7:33 a.m. I spent the last hour watching the trees. Not for movement, for stillness. See? Everything that moves out here gives itself away eventually. It breaks a twig. It shifts a shadow. But the ones you have to worry about now, those don't move at all. They stand exactly where you'd expect a tree or a post or a utility line to be, and they wait. And the longer they wait, the more real they become. They're learning how to blend by staying perfectly still. I saw one of them across the field this morning. Looked like a fence post. Wire twisted around it, half buried in grass. But I've checked that field 100 times. There's no fence. Never was. I watched it for 30 minutes. Didn't move. Not once. But the wire was changing, coiling tighter. New loops every few minutes. And the grass beneath it? Dying. Slow. Concentric. Like the air around it was poison. It's still out there. Still part of the landscape. But I won't go near it. I've got enough ghosts. Don't need to add myself to the list of things pretending to be real. I got a voice transmission around 6:12. Real voice. Man named Ellis from back near Blackroot Ridge. Said he's been hearing a tone every morning at the exact same time. 6:03 a.m. sharp. Not a beep. A note. He calls it the gray bell. Says it comes from above, not below. Echoes like it's being broadcast from the clouds, but there's no distortion. Pure sound. Rings out for 7 seconds. Then the fog rolls in. Thickest fog he's ever seen. Covers everything. Sticks to your clothes. Smells like burnt plastic and cinnamon. He says he stays inside when it comes. Covers the mirrors. Sits in the dark. But yesterday, he saw a light in it. A lantern. Or something pretending to be one. And behind it, the silhouette of someone small. A girl, maybe 9, holding the light out in front of her, walking toward the house. He didn't move. Didn't call out. He just watched. She walked to the edge of the fog, stopped 10 feet from the porch, and tilted her head like she was listening. Then she spoke. Not loud, not clear. Just one line. I brought you your name. Then she vanished. Fog cleared 20 minutes later, and the front door was open. Ellis swears he locked it. He hasn't gone outside since. I told him to move the furniture, block every exit, and whatever he does, don't let anyone return something you didn't lose, because that's how they get in. They give you things you want, familiar comforts, soft memories, forgotten names. And the moment you accept it, the moment you say, "Oh, thank you, I missed that," they have you. Not all at once, just a little. like a foot in the door. I've been whispering more often on these broadcasts, not because I'm hiding, because I don't want them learning my rhythm. They can mimic speech, mimic tone, but they still don't understand subtlety. They don't know why we pause mid-sentence, or why our voices crack when we talk about someone we miss. They copy form, not intention, and that's the only thing keeping us ahead right now. A woman called in from near Amarillo. Her name was Karen, said her sister had been found after being missing 5 days. Showed up at the back door wearing the same clothes she disappeared in. No dirt, no scratches, just clean. Too clean. Karen said her sister hugged her, said all the right things. But when Karen offered her coffee, she blinked. Too long, too slow, and said, "You already did." Karen hadn't. She asked what kind. Her sister said, "The usual." But Karen doesn't drink coffee. Never has. Her sister would know that. She left her outside, said she could hear her pacing for hours. Then, just before dawn, her sister's voice came through the keyhole. "Please, I need to come in. It's almost time." Karen said nothing. She waited until morning, then checked the porch. No one there, but the door handle was covered in frost. I told her she did the right thing. There's a rule I want all of you to remember. Doesn't matter if you're old or young, alone or in a group. Nothing that returns from the dark returns the same. I don't care how real it looks. If it came back after vanishing, it's not what it was. Don't accept it. Don't invite it. Don't give it your name. We're still human, still broken, still scared. But that means we hesitate, we doubt, we overthink, and those things might just save us. This is Rex Dalton. 11:40 a.m. The Ridge. Still whispering, still doubting, still not accepting what I didn't ask for. It's 9:58 a.m. Something passed overhead 30 minutes ago. No sound, no shadow, just the feeling. Like pressure shifting in the walls. Like the entire sky flexed for a second and I was underneath it. The hairs on my arms stood up. My jaw ached. Not from cold, from pressure. And then the transmission boards lit up. Not the emergency ones. Not the distress band. The old diagnostic channel. The one that hasn't been active since I installed it as a joke years ago. Something to test coils and gain levels. It lit up green, like it had received something. I checked the readout. It didn't log audio. It logged presence. That's the word that came through. Over and over. Same signal, same burst, same phrasing. Presence confirmed. Coherence unstable. Recording begun. No location. No timestamp. No signature. And then everything shut down for 30 seconds. The batteries, the lights, the shortwave, even the mechanical clock. Dead. Still. And then it all came back. Like nothing happened. Except for one thing. Every dial, every setting I had meticulously adjusted was reset. Every single one. It's like someone walked through the room, touched everything, and left without leaving a sound. Except the air was heavier, and the candle I'd left unlit was burned down halfway. That's not paranoia. That's math. Something was here. I checked the logs. The last thing I recorded before the reset was my own voice reading a date from last year. except I never said it. I don't even remember thinking it, but it's there. My voice, saying, June 14th, 2024. That's when the field collapsed. I don't know what it means. I'm not sure I want to. Got a shortwave buzz around 8:40 from a woman in northern Idaho. Her name was Camille. She sounded like she hadn't slept in days. Voice brittle, but not broken. She said she's living underground now, not by choice, by instinct. The air above feels scripted, she said. That was her word. Scripted. Like the weather, the clouds, the way leaves fall. None of it's organic anymore. It all follows a pattern. One she's begun to track. She draws it on the wall of the bunker in charcoal. Circles. Arcs. Lines that shift slightly each day. And every 3 days, the entire pattern resets. But the reset isn't perfect. There's always one line left behind. A mistake. A glitch. She called it a thread. She thinks if she follows it, it'll lead her out of whatever this is. I asked her what she meant. She said, out of the loop. And then her signal cut, with this strange scraping sound, like something pulling itself across metal with hooks. I haven't been able to raise her again. If you're out there, Camille, mark the thread. Follow it only if the light behind you stays the same color. That's the only thing that's consistent in this world now. The light lies, but its temperature never does. I got a broken signal from Ontario. An older couple. Still alive, still coherent, still together. That's rare. They're living in an abandoned water treatment plant. Thick walls, concrete, no digital locks. They collect rainwater and heat it with copper coils over fire. They said the only time they see things is when the air stops moving. When the air holds its breath, that's when the reflections come. Not mirror reflections. Just things that shimmer into view for a second, inside puddles, or stove glass, or even the curvature of a ladle. They always look like people they've lost, always smile, never speak, and always vanish the moment you blink. They said they've started carrying little notebooks with sketches of each other, real faces, real wrinkles, scars, notes like left tooth missing or calls me darlin' when she's mad. They say it helps. They say when the real one is standing there, the drawing matches. When it doesn't match, they walk away. They don't ask questions. They don't confront it. They just leave. Smart. We need more of that. More drawings, more proof of ourselves, more ways to remember the human details that can't be faked. If you're listening, start your sketchbook today, even if you're alone, especially if you're alone. One more thing. A voice on the channel at 7:14 this morning. Child. Male. Spoken fragments. Under the water, they dream of sky, but the sky is remembering. We are the mistake they haven't fixed yet. Then static. I don't know who he was. I don't think he was broadcasting. I think I was hearing something bleed through, like a thought sent too far, or a recording left behind by someone who never existed. The ridge is holding steady, solar's recharging, water's low but manageable, still rationing the food, still taping over the mirror every night, still refusing to speak my name when I don't have to, still writing things down that don't make sense yet, because someday they might. This is Rex Dalton, 11:40 a.m., The Ridge, still remembering the weight of words, still watching for the next reset, still here until the thread breaks.